So I ordered my Valve Index last year, and a couple days ago I finally got it, and I have a lot to say. Yo, by the way guys, make sure to drop a like if you do end up enjoying the video, because it does help the channel a lot. And also don't forget to subscribe with the bell icon rung, because this video was expensive to make, but I did it for science and for your entertainment. All right, let's go. So the Steam Deck is a relatively affordable gaming PC that runs on a version of Linux called SteamOS. And from a hardware perspective, the deck is large, very large, especially when you compare it to a Nintendo Switch. So you would expect it to be bulky and heavy and uncomfortable to game on, but Valve came in clutch and made it surprisingly ergonomic. The hand grips are contoured to fit your hands perfectly, and all the buttons are placed where you'd expect them to be. I mean, Valve built it from the ground up to have plenty of options to play however you want. Like, you have bumpers, triggers, 4 mappable paddles on the back. They have a really good click and they aren't too easy to accidentally press. There's 2 decent capacitive thumbsticks, 2 trackpads with really good haptic feedback, ABXY buttons, a D-pad, start select button, whatever you prefer to call them, like menu and like share button, I don't know. And of course, you can't forget about the 2 OS navigation buttons, and not even to mention the volume and the power button. I mean, which those are kind of a given. And on top of that too, it has a 1280 by 800 resolution, 1610 aspect ratio, 60 Hz touchscreen. So you're going to be balling on this bad boy. And the speakers as well are shockingly good for the size of the device. And they have a really impressive soundstage where it simulates surround sound to an extent. I mean, sure, the quality isn't up to the standards of MacBooks, but for the price, they sound really good. And if you'd prefer, you can even connect some wired headphones with the 3.5mm audio jack, or even connect some Bluetooth headphones if you want to go wireless. Personally, I use some Bose Quiet Comfort wireless headphones, and they sound incredible. Also, this happens.
Battery 40%. Connected to Steam Deck.
So now a little bit more about the screen. So it's a 7-inch 60 Hz IPS display that gets reasonably bright. However, I think future iterations would definitely benefit from an OLED display option, because to be honest, since I picked up an OLED TV, it's been so much harder to enjoy looking at a screen with a backlight. But I mean, obviously though, for a first generation SKU, and considering the price, it's not a complete deal breaker. And then as for storage, there are 3 different options. There's the 64GB model at $399 with the slowest storage. There's a 256GB version for $529, and then 512GB for $649. Plus, the high-end model also has a etched anti-glare screen, which is really useful when you're playing with a lot of ambient light, so like when you're playing outside. However, all 3 versions effectively have the same specs, and they all have a micro SD card slot. But if you have a large collection of games and you want to get the fastest loading times, I would 100% go with the 512GB model. But it all really comes down to your budget. And of course, we have to talk about the battery life, because that is, for a portable console, that is one of the most important things. So the Steam Deck has a decently sized battery, and depending on the games you're playing, it could last at the very least 90 minutes in the most demanding of games. But if you choose to play something a little bit more lightweight, you can easily get 3 to 4 hours or even more of battery life. And of course, you have plenty of options to optimize it to either get a better gaming experience or get longer battery life. It all really comes down to you. It all just depends on how you want to play the game. Like, you can lock the screen to 30 to 40 Hz and play games like that, and get a little bit of extra juice out of it. But if you want to play at the full 60 Hz so you can get a smoother experience, you have to do that at the expense of battery life. Unless you just use your Steam Deck as like an emulator, then it'll last a while. And that's the one thing I love about the Steam Deck. They made it and they said, here you go, do whatever you want. And they even support your right to repair it, which is rare to see, but I definitely support Valve for doing this, because if one of the sticks goes bad, just pop it open with your iFixit kit. This not sponsored. And then just throw in the new stick. Easy peasy. Okay, but anyways though, that's enough about the hardware. So let's get into the reason why the device is so great. So SteamOS is Linux based, so in that point alone, gaming compatibility isn't the best. However, they figured out a way to get past the limitation by adding an extra compatibility layer called Proton, which allows games that are only on Windows to run on the device. But obviously it's on a game-by-game basis and results may vary. Like, if you want to figure out what games you can play that you have in your library, they have different filters you can sort through. So there's deck verified games which have been tested by Valve, and they'll give you the most optimal gaming experience. A level down, there are playable games, and these might require you to use the touchscreen to navigate through menus, but in my opinion, the games still run perfectly, and oh no, you have to use the touchscreen that it has built in to navigate the menus. Oh my, yeah, no, it's a non-issue. And then there's also untested, which are games that potentially could work, but they haven't been tested by Valve yet, so there's no guarantee. And then there are unplayable games, but this can be a bit misleading because for some games, games, I mean mainly Master Chief Collection, you can actually play it, but the anti-cheat prevents you from playing online. But the single player still works without an issue. So if you want to try to beat Critical's $20,000 Halo 2 Lasso Challenge, like this isn't the most ideal way to do it because you would have to keep it plugged in, but it is possible. All right, anyways though, it's finally time to test out some games. So the first game I tried was the Master Chief Collection because obviously it says that it isn't playable because of the anti-cheat, and that's true if you want to play multiplayer, but if you want to jump into any of the Halo campaigns, you can do so alone. To be honest, the game runs at a solid 60 frames a second with a couple performance hiccups from time to time, but it is absolutely playable. I mean, considering they claim that the game isn't playable, like this was definitely unexpected. I just hope that 343 Industries steps in and updates easy anti-cheats so you can play the entire game on it. So the second game I tried, of course, was CSGO. And considering it's a game made by Valve, like, will it run well on the Steam Deck? Well, I had to try it because I was kind of curious. And overall, obviously with the Steam Deck, you do have an option to plug in a keyboard and mouse if you do have the dock, but I don't have that, so it wasn't really an option. So I tried to play CSGO with the built-in controller. And all I can say is, yeah, I got absolutely destroyed. Like CSGO is a game that just does not work well with a controller because you literally have to stop completely to be accurate. And with a controller, that is hard to do. You know, the game is designed to be played with a keyboard and mouse. But in terms of the performance though, it actually ran fairly well. I got a solid 60 frames per second. There weren't really any frame drops. I mean, I guess the biggest issue was the controls, but for a game like CS, that is to be expected. So obviously it's fun, but you're not going to be able to play competitive on this setup. No way. The next game I tried was Hades, which is a game I've played for over a year now actually, and it's such a fun game. It's basically a roguelike top-down action adventure game where your decisions kind of determine like if you're going to be overpowered or not. Overall, it's a super fun game, and that was actually the game that ran the best on the Steam Deck. Like it ran at a solid 60 FPS. There weren't any frame drops. It was a flawless experience, and also the controller is set up in a way where it just feels natural. And also, since Hades is a less demanding game, you can overall play for longer on a single charge, which is definitely another plus. The next game I checked out was Rocket League, which also ran pretty well, surprisingly. And also, I mean, since the game is better with a controller, like it was right at home on the Steam Deck. Albeit I usually play the game on my Xbox Series X, and I usually play it in 120 hertz. So dropping down to 60 was less fluid, and obviously, you know, it's a lot harder to play at a competitive level with less frames, but, you know, definitely in the lower ranks and in casual, it is absolutely fine. Like I was able to do aerials, I was able to do pretty much anything that I can do on any other version of the game. So Rocket League, great game on the Steam Deck. And the next game I played was Apex Legends, which is a very difficult game to play with controller, but obviously there are a ton of people on console who do play the game, so it absolutely is possible. But whenever I play Apex, I always just play keyboard and mouse, so that's what I'm used to. So yeah, I wasn't very good. Like it was really hard to aim and stay on target. I really struggled. Overall, Apex Legends ran surprisingly well despite the controls still being difficult to play with, but yeah, solid 60 FPS, the game looked pretty decent, and it was definitely playable. So overall, the Steam Deck is basically for people who want to be able to play their Steam games on the go, or if you just want to lay in bed or wherever. You know, that's the best part about it. It's completely portable. However, the battery life doesn't last all day, so it is good to be near a charger. I mean, even for long trips though, if you play less demanding games at 30 frames per second, you can make it last. But overall, it exceeded my expectations. I was expecting it to be this terrible gaming experience, but it's portable, so it's convenient. But no, it's actually a pretty solid gaming experience on the go. And the game compatibility was shockingly good. There were so many games that I thought I wouldn't be able to play because they're only for Windows, but Proton kind of solved that. And now it's just a matter of time before the games that literally don't work on it, it'll just be a matter of time before they are ported over. I mean, with easy anti-cheat, all they have to do is just enable one thing and it's good to go. We'll have to wait and see though. Overall, I hope you guys enjoy this video. It was something a little bit different than what I normally do, and if you want to see more product reviews, just let me know down below. Anyways, don't forget to join the Discord server. Check out the skin port link down below to buy and sell your skins. It also supports the channel, and I guess with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a safe rest of your day. It's Turbo, and I'm out.